Well, good afternoon, folks. It's just a little past noon, I believe. Maybe it's 12:30. Could be a little off. But I thought I'd show you my new hat that I got at Arizona when I went there on, I think it was Tuesday. So, I want to welcome you back to the channel. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope everybody had a safe 4th of July. And if you're new here, I welcome you to the channel. I thank you for watching. Every Sunday I do a reading for the collective, and that means pretty much everybody in the world, to find out what spirit wants us to focus on, what might be possibly coming up that we need to be aware of, and just kind of put some hope and prayers and love out to the planet, to the animals, to the birds, the fishes, the creepy crawlies, the slithering ones, the dolphins and the whales. If you've been here before, I thank you for coming back and watching again. And if you like what you see, I ask that you consider hitting the subscribe button so that you get notified every Sunday when a new reading comes out. We're going to start adding a little bit more in as I get reacclimated back to Arizona, because Spirit was very insistent about the reason we keep pulling you back is because Arizona is home base, where I thought it was a city. Silly me. But it's actually the whole state. So they're like, you can live wherever you choose, come and go, however you want to do it. And then they said, might we make a suggestion, though, that the next time when we ask you to go to a state to do some work there, that you leave your stuff at home. You know, don't take it with you, because then you won't have to worry about coming up with the money to bring it back again. Kind of makes sense when you think about it. So we are in the process of looking to where we want to be, and right now we're in Flagstaff, mainly because it's cooler, and I have to think about Bearheart, because until we find a place to live that we can actually afford, we're either camping or in the car. And even here, unless it's raining or at night, it can get kind of warm during the day. Not as bad as Phoenix, but it can. So I asked for prayers for me out to help with a location on where it is in my highest and best interest to find a home to live in that I can afford. As you know, if you're on Social Security, you'll know what I'm talking about. It doesn't go very far, especially in this time of our lives. But we also want to find out what Spirit really wants us to focus on as a whole. Yes, we know we always do the pillars of light with the love, the unity, the truth, and justice. But what else do we need to know? What else do we need to focus on? Because remember, we want to focus on love, Because where there is love, there can be no fear, there can be no anger, no judgment. So we always want to make sure, to the best of our ability, that we stay in the energy of love. And if you've ever read the books, Power versus, I think it's Power versus Force. There were like 3 or 4 books. I used to have all of them. I think along the way, over the years, they've disappeared. But he put in there a chart where they actually registered, can't see, where they actually registered the vibration and where the middle point was. And fear, anger, jealousy, hatred, they're all those energies are way, way, way down here. 200, 100, 300. Love is way up at the top. I think it's at 600 or 700. And then there's also joy is a very high vibrational word and energy. But love conquers all. And that's something even I have to be reminded of constantly. And lucky for us, the angels have no problem repeating it over and over and over again until we finally get it. You know. Okay, they're saying there's going to be 3 cards. Makes it easier, and the video not quite so long. And if they can say it in 3 cards, what everybody needs to hear and to focus on, that's even better. Oh, my box is falling. So, let's see what cards we pulled for the collective. Oh, interesting. I've been doing a lot of work with this card, or with the energy. The third eye chakra. The clear seeing. And it also relates to not only me healing the cataracts, but in the last meditation I did before I left Albuquerque, Spirit placed a huge emerald right here in the third eye. I was like, wow. Oh, I've seen this one before. Okay. So this is the goddess butterfly. So apparently maybe we didn't quite get the message last week, because the spirit of the bear is back. So obviously there is very something important. Hold on a second. I dropped one of the cards. That we all need to get that we haven't gotten yet. So let's see what the third eye. Now, like I said, the third eye is all about clear seeing. It's your clairvoyance. Whether it's visions that you have, whether you can see dead people, you know, whether you can see spirits, colors, that all comes through that third eye. So they're asking the collective as a whole to start concentrating on clearing your third eye so that you can see with clarity on kind of like what is going on right in front of our faces. And they kind of reiterated that with me, because they have been telling me for years, where you belong, where home base is, it is so close it could bite you in the face. That's how close it is, and you're not seeing it. And it's true. I wasn't seeing it. No matter how many times I left Arizona, to go do something, whether it was in South Dakota, whether it was in Oklahoma, whether it was in when I traveled last year to Arkansas and Tennessee and then came back into Oklahoma, the move to Oklahoma twice, the move to South Dakota twice, the move to Colorado twice. Each time, they always pulled me back to Arizona. I was only pulled back to Nevada once when I lived there. I was there for 5 years. I left for 2.5 and went back for another 5. And since I've been gone since 1999, I really haven't had a desire to go back. So that shows that that's not where I was supposed to be. Yes, I loved it there. I had a lot of friends there. I had a lot of fun there. But there was a reason I had to leave. In Arizona, I just leave because I think it's kind of like the, what is it, FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, ooh, there's something better somewhere else because look at what those people are doing. Maybe I need to go there and the same thing will happen with me, blah, 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 blah. But if you pay attention to your clear sight is telling you, it's showing you Arizona. That's where you're supposed to be. Why do you keep leaving with all your stuff? Go do the work we asked you to do, the healing, visit the land, but come back. So again, a lot of times, even though we are spiritual teachers and leaders, sometimes we don't always interpret things correctly or the way Spirit intended it to be. So that's why we have to be very clear. Okay, that's enough of this. We have to be very clear on what we're seeing, what we're being shown. So the third eye chakra, this is what Melanie has to say about it. Of course, it's heightened awareness. We're shattering illusions and clarity, which obviously we could all use a lot of sometimes. And then this one actually says inner intuition. Within this new world, your pure instinctual self is calling to be heard as the way shower of light. See, now not all the cards have that little thing, but this particular one does. So then she goes on to say, with this mandala, you are receiving indigo and silver rays via the window of your mind. A gateway to deepen insight is further opening you to your inner world and the dimensions within the higher realms. The beautiful moon. Okay, I have to look at the card now because I'm like, I didn't see a moon. Oh, maybe those are moons. Sits at the center of this third chakra as a representation of the divine feminine overseeing this great blossoming earth. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Okay. The open lotus flower within the card reflects your inner focus flower. Oh, your inner lotus flower. See, that's another reason we gotta get those peepers healed. It is now open to receiving divine guidance. Follow your intuition. And it's not just follow it, but trust it. I was talking to a gentleman out here at the park a couple days ago. He had gone through, there's like a 2 mile trail with workout stuff on it. And he had gone through the whole trail. He was here and decided to stop up here on his way to Phoenix because his mother is in the hospital. Apparently, they found cancer in her pancreas, I think is what he said. So they had to take out part of the stomach and they had to take out part of the pancreas. Well, when he got finished, the guy he was talking to that was parked next to me, he had asked him if he had any water because he didn't bring any water. If you're going to go running and exercising, you've got to make sure you have water around. And so I heard him ask the guy if he had any water. And the guy said, no, sorry, I can't help you. So I volunteered and said, hey, I have water. You need some? Let me get it. It's in the trunk. So I gave him a bottle, and he pretty much downed almost the whole thing before I could even get 2 sentences out of my mouth. So I said, here, you need another one. And he's like, yes. And then he was like, do you mind, if I have a third? Because he was chugging them pretty good. And we got to talking. Now, he was Navajo. And we started talking about spirituality. We started talking again about the third eye. We were talking about, all of us being born of the Creator's vision, the dreaming that goes on, and we're all aspects, but that we are all related. Again, the Mitakuye Oyasin. And so we had a very interesting conversation. And then I got several hugs from him because he goes, oh my God, he goes, you have now made things that I've been seeing and knowing make sense. And then he looked at me and he said, you have some of the strongest faith I have ever seen in a person. I don't see myself that way because I doubt everything I see, everything I hear, everything. But he said that could be true, but you never waver from your faith in a higher power that watches over all of us, takes care of us, and it does it with love. So I love these conversations that just spontaneously happen from people that you meet. If you're willing to listen, as this says, you listen, let's see. Yes, you're following your intuition. But you listen to what other people, the messages they're trying to give you. In this case, an angel in human form. It was a message apparently I needed to hear because I was wavering a little bit on, oh my God, did I screw things up again? So we have to really pay attention to what other people and their messages are for us as well. And this is also a gentle yet influential energy of the highest order reminds you of the power of insight. Allow this energy to be your guide. Be open to your innate abilities. Birth the gift of vision. And this becomes a seer of your life. Oh, and then thus, throwing in those tricky words, thus it becomes a seer of your life. You do. So instead of going out and seeking answers from a guru up on top of a mountain, you become the seer. Because your intuition is so in tune with your soul, your higher self, source, that you're giving yourself the answers. Sometimes we just don't know it, and it needs somebody else to point it out to you. And you're like, oh, that's what that meant. I got it. Yeah, Spirit did show me that. And that's what these little guides that come up and talk to you are all about. So we have the opportunity to learn from everybody. This mandala indicates you have the ability to share your gift with others as a conduit for channeling. You are ready, should you choose. The third eye chakra expresses, the third eye chakra represents the divine garden within your mind's eye. It is full of flowers in bloom, indicating that you have not only surpassed the illusionary world, but you have chosen to be responsible for creating a new one. Start by accessing this inner garden and harvesting wisdom from the precious flowers that have grown out of experience and lessons learned. You can choose to see the world through the window of your mind's eye. This outlook is divinely connected with all that is and speaks directly to one's heart. So that, once again, is the third eye chakra. And then, of course, we have the goddess butterfly, which came up not too long ago. I don't know if it was last week or this week, but it's coming up again, so obviously it's important. And it's a pretty card, too. The beautiful butterfly in the center. So that has to do with, of course, transition, nonverbal communication, and soulmate. Because the butterfly is always about transformation. You think about the chrysalis. So even if you're waking up as a spiritual being and realizing there's way more out in the universe than you ever thought, that you could have ever imagined, that your parents might have ever taught you, especially if you're older, it wasn't talked about much. But the butterfly goes into that cocoon and it stays there and stays there till it's ready. And then it breaks free and transforms into that beautiful butterfly. So this is saying the goddess butterfly blesses you with love and transformation. This mandala presents to those that are ready to spread their wings, fly, and nurture other precious souls who are awaiting their own transformation. Because once you awaken, you think about it. Somebody helped you awake, helped you on your path, with whatever it might be. If it's a spiritual one, great. If it's just being human, that's great too. Although there's some spirituality somewhere in there. But somebody guided you, helped you along the way, answered your questions, showed you. So once you awaken, it's kind of like that Tim McGraw song about you get somewhere you're going and you turn around and you help the next person up. That's kind of like what it is. You don't just blossom and transform and say, okay, that's it, I'm done. No, you help others. You teach others. You show others. And then they, in turn, will turn around and do the same for the next person in line. Okay. You will notice the butterfly within this mandala is surrounded in a circle of small pods. These pods represent those souls who are awaiting metamorphosis, and a large part of your journey now is to show them the way. Nurture them as you would yourself. You have all that you need. Now is your time to share your gift to the world. This mandala speaks of the language of love. The language is not heard by the ears, but quite simply felt at the heart. The language of love is universal, and all that walk this plane are fluent within the dialect of the heart. So practice communicating in this way. No words are required. It is a silent transfer of love as we pass one another any others. Doesn't matter. Human, animals, you spread the love. There are no rules. Simply love. As a goddess of love, butterfly also represents the love in your physical life. If you have been seeking love, seek no more. Open your heart and take the hand of love as you dive into the depths with another. It is time for your hands to interweave, your hearts to connect, and your souls to smile as you recognize each other and journey forward together. If you are in an existing relationship, the presence of Goddess Butterfly will touch your hearts as you deepen your connection to unity, or of unity. And then we have the good old spirit of the bear. She's been pretty vocal the last 3 weeks. This is funny that no matter how many times I shuffle the cards, she finds a way to get out. And it's so funny because, of course, I was at Arizona on Tuesday. So I was calling her. I'm like, okay, Mama Bear, we're at Arizona. If you got something to say to your kindred here, I'm like, you got to come out. And some of the instances were pretty funny. I had a bear that was in the lake, and he was just popping up and down as the cars went by so he could see what was going on. And I actually caught one in a tub, which I didn't even notice he was in a tub until somebody on Facebook pointed it out. They're like, I love this. But then there was a bear who didn't exactly like the people that had stopped next to him and wouldn't leave. So he actually did his business right next to their car. Guess what it made him do? It made them leave so that the rest of us that had gotten stuck there were able to continue driving around and watching and looking at the animals. So animals are hilarious when you, like in that instance, he kind of like telling them, get out of here. You're in my space. You're not going to move. I'm going to make you move. And they did. So it was kind of funny to watch. And then, of course, the grizzlies. Oh my God, they were gorgeous. Young. But when I saw the claws on, especially the male, because we did a show that we got to go back and they bring them in so they can feed them. They tell you how much protein the bears eat, how much they weigh, how tall they are. But they also have little hand signals, and one of them is to put their paw up on the wire or whatever that was protecting us from them and them from us. And he put his paw in there and then went like this with his nails. And I'm like, those nails, those claws were like this long. I was like, holy smokes. And then she did another one where he turns his head and opens up his mouth so you can see the teeth. And I'm like, yeah, I can see why people have issues with grizzly bears and probably why they don't survive an attack from one. But it was definitely kind of cool to watch them play and chase each other. And because, like I said, they're still young. They just got them in 2021 or 2022 because somebody had killed their mother because he said, oh, it was either my life or hers, so I killed her. Well, she left, and that guy left 3 orphan bears. But he did pick them up and take them to the Montana Wildlife Refuge, and that's how Arizona ended up with them. But it was like, yeah, up close, when you're up and close and personal with a bear, especially grizzlies, they are very fierce looking. Yes, you might want to cuddle them, but I don't suggest it. But the spirit of the bear is a different story. Because the spirit of the bear has to do with retreat. Again, remember, the bear sits in the west of the medicine wheel, and the west is always about going within. It's called the looks within place. So if the bear is showing up a lot the last few weeks, then obviously on a collective front, people need to go within and get their own answers instead of listening to the crap that's being spewed on TV or in the news. You need to go in and feel it within your own soul. We need to meditate on love more and in bringing peace and harmony back to this planet, back to the United States and any other countries that are at conflict right now. We do that by going within, sitting in the West, meditating, and listening to our soul on what is truth for us. Also has to do with soul effort, because most bears are, unless they're mothers, they are, especially the males, they're on their own. Once they get to a certain age, they have to fend for themselves. The mother is like, okay, you're out of here. and I think it's like maybe 3 or 4 years old, and then shoot, out of here, go on, I don't have time for you. But again, when you look at how does the energy affect us in what we are doing, that sometimes, yes, it is a soul effort to get where we want to go. Yes, we have a circle of friends and family around us, but it's our own energy, our own blocks and or beliefs that could be holding us back from where we believe we should be or where spirit says we should be. And that is a soul effort on doing the inner work. Again, going to that looks within place and doing the inner work that will help us move forward. And then it also says the strength is in vulnerability. So even as we're doing this work, we don't have to put out that macho, oh, I can do it, I'm just going to rip it to shreds and blah, blah, blah. No. You approach it like you do in native prayer. You beseech. It's like, you thank ahead of time. You stay humble. Always. In whatever spiritual work you do, it's always very important that you stay humble. Nobody likes a braggart. of any kind in any society. So even those that are in power need to be humble, because you didn't get there by yourself. You're not where you're at because you did all the work yourself. You had a lot of help along the way, and a lot of it's unseen help. It's spiritual help. But again, you stay vulnerable, you stay humble, and stay in that love energy. You get quicker, faster. Faster? Yeah. You move forward quicker. There we go. So let's see what Melanie has to say about, because there could be something we're not that we're missing, and that's why the spirit of the bear keeps coming back and forth over and over. So the spirit of the bear, Mandala, brings courage and strength to those in need. And I'd say pretty much the United States needs that right now. So do a lot of other countries. It strengthens the mind and the body with the sheer power that only bear medicine can offer. However, bear also hibernates in the cold season, reminding you to lay low and settle when needed. And that's one of the things the zoo or keeper of the bear, whatever they called them, they weren't really a zookeeper, but it was, I forgot what she called them. Because grizzlies, like all other bears, they don't sleep the whole winter away. She said they come out, they eat, they forage, they play with each other, and then they'll go in and take a 2-week nap. And then they might come back out for another snack, and they might stick around and stay out for 2 or 3 days, and then they go back in and take a 3-week nap. And then they come out and they might stay awake for a week, 2 weeks, playing, eating, whatever, but then they go back and they do that 2 to 3 week nap again. So, like us, there are some times where we just need to stop and get our bearings, kind of readjust our meridians. That's what I've been working on, because I've had some issues going on with the eye. So I had to clear the meridians, which cleared a lot of other things. So it's taken the time, the self-care, the self-love. And that's what the bear can be about, because the bear is all about healing. Let's see. Hibernates in the cold, yep. Reminding you to lay low and settle when needed. Bear plays a significant symbolic part in everyone's life, with the key elements of its nature shining through all. Spirit of Bear is a guardian of the great earthly plane and a keeper of the many, many doorways linking the earth with the higher planes. As such, Bear touches every soul on incarnation and throughout their lifetime. Bears embody what I like to call an iron hide, because they are undefeated in strength and power. They can endure the toughest of situations and can adapt to their environment. Likewise, Spirit of the Bear has a will that cannot be broken, and an essence that is of the earth. That's kind of like what that guy kind of told me the other day. Is like, your faith is unbroken. He goes, I've never met anybody with such strong faith. He goes, but you don't see that. Which was true. I don't. So, but he could, which I think was kind of cool. All right, let me adjust this a little bit. So with this card, the Spirit of the Bear is with you. You are being reminded to draw upon the strength and courage that lives within you. Life only ever gifts you with situations that you are ready for, and you are never given anything that you cannot learn and grow from. Yeah, that's not nice to hear sometimes. Which stage of your journey are you at? One's greatest strength lies in the ability to be vulnerable. So Bear may be signaling for you to retreat to your cave and spend time in introspection. Have you already emerged from your cave with fresh insight and courage, ready to embrace your dreams? Either way, be the leader of your life. By drawing upon the rich resources of the four elements contained within this mandala, you always have all that you need. And it's interesting because I have been trying, to get into this campground ever since I got back from New Mexico. And every time I go down there, it's booked. Can't get in. So I looked again yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, these people have to have left by now, because a lot of them had come in for the 4th of July. And I thought they would leave, or at least that's what it looked like on their reserve cards. Well, there isn't an opening until tomorrow. Everybody has to go back to work tomorrow, or at least those people that do work. So my lesson, of course, again, has been patience and trying to figure out what to do in the meantime while I'm waiting. But that's what part of this is going to be, going down there, and every weekend is booked for the whole month of July. So I can only stay Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which is fine. Put the tent up, get some rest, and there's a lake there that I can swim in. But that's what the bear is teaching, is you need solitude now. You've been out talking to all these people. They've given you information, because I was talking to another guy yesterday morning about other things, because he's looking for his new place. He used to live in California. He moved from California. Now he's in Casa Grande, and he realizes he don't like the heat so much. So he's looking for a new place. So he was asking me questions about the different states I've been into. He asked me if I had ever been to Colorado, what I thought of Colorado, and besides it's beautiful. I said it does get a lot of snow, and he goes, I don't want snow. And I said, well, unfortunately, in Colorado, you're going to see a lot of it. I said, here, even in Flagstaff, they get a lot of snow. I said, there are parts of the state that don't get as much. But he's looking for a space where he could have at least 2 acres, because he wants a ranch. He wants to start growing his own food. He wants to maybe have a horse or 2, even though he's never ridden one. So he was asking me a lot of questions. And so we had a good conversation, and then he went on his way. But when you interact that a lot like that with people, where they're picking your brain and asking questions, sometimes you do. You just need to say, okay, it's time for a respite. And that's what the next 4 days will be, because like I said, they do have an opening. I'm going to go camping. Hopefully they don't fill up before I can get there in the morning. So what are you going to do to tap in, to be quiet, and go to that looks within place, to get the answers that you've been seeking, that your soul is trying to give you, and are you ready to hear it? So until next Sunday, I hope you guys have a very, very beautiful week, and make sure that you send plenty of love to yourself, your family, your friends, your community, your animals, all the wild animals, and to Mother Earth herself, along with the collective. Because you put that energy out there, the next person puts it out there, they combine together, and eventually it combines with the net of light that the grandmothers have put up and around the earth, and it connects also. That love energy connects to the pillars of light that my group has been putting up all over the planet to help bring more love, unity, justice, and truth onto this planet. And it's very easy to do, but it starts here. Love yourself first. So on that note, I will say adieu for now. Have a great rest of your week. Remember to walk in beauty, my friends. Walk in beauty. Bye for now.